we got to do this quick so we can catch our train. Right next to the tracks. Actually, it is kind of like doing it at the movie theater. That is right next to the railroad tracks.
We're exactly the same distance from train tracks.
Yeah.
Here and there.
We're in front of Bryant's house now, because we didn't go to the theater to see anything. We watched it inside, but given the show, we're still reviewing it in the car.
Because why not?
Why not? We picked a fucking theme. We're sticking with it.
Well, didn't we get shit that one time when we saw something and then just went we're like, it's too fucking cold and went back to your house and filmed it?
I think so. I think I do remember that. Whoa, I'm confused. I don't know what to think of the movie now. You guys aren't inside, or you guys aren't inside of a car. How do I know what's the truth or not?
It's all lies. It's all been lies.
We were joking that, like, given my shirt and hat, I should kind of be wearing your jacket.
Then what would I wear?
Right now, I look like they did get a surrogate, and it's Luke with the town troubadour.
Merge that together for you.
I loved it. So we watched, you've seen all of them, and so I'm at part 1, so we're going to review these. And I actually just found out that they released all 4 of them together. Like, for some reason, I originally thought that the 4 movies were going to be, like, I don't know why I thought this. Maybe because they were movie length.
Well, yeah, with them being movie length and with the fact that each one is a season, it makes sense. Well, it's fucking freezing out right now, and the first chapter is winter. So it would make sense for them to do it on a seasonal basis.
We'll review the next part in the spring. Or sooner.
Probably sooner.
You were sitting there at dinner like, oh, I want to drop all of these references, but some of you guys haven't seen it yet.
I want to talk about shit.
Fuck. I liked that the hour that we, probably not an hour, but the time we spent before hitting play, catching Laura up.
So then fucking Dean. Fucking Dean.
So don't even fucking get us started on Dean.
It's just like, Laura's like, so we don't like Dean?
No, we don't like Dean. We don't like Dean. And, like, we can tolerate Logan because of Mitchum Huntsberg.
But that's basically it. Like, by himself, Logan is a prick.
And what's funny, too, is seeing how, if you hadn't really seen this show before, sorry, Gilmore Girls is what we're talking about.
By the way.
We're talking about the Mary and Rhoda TV movie. The pictures that they use on Netflix makes it look like it's that spin-off they tried doing with Jess did get picked up.
Yeah, I like that. We noticed that for the original run of the series, it's a picture of like young Jess.
Yeah.
And then now for the a year in the life like epic mini series, I guess you'd call it. It is a picture of current Jess.
Yeah.
Which I just like the fact that both title cards for this show are Jess related, and he is not the main character.
No, it's great
at all.
And then when you do have that like kind of Netflix background shot, it's like this Norman Rockwell sort of like photoshopped image of Lorelai and Rory, and Luke in the background like he's a serial killer peering in on them.
Yeah, it's like that shot when it's like you're not supposed to see him back there, but you totally see him back there. Like I like here in town at the Abe Lincoln Museum, there's like this giant thing they've done up of like a scale replica of the front rotunda or whatever of the Capitol, like the White House, and like Lincoln and his family out front. But then like fucking Booth like leaning around the corner of like a tree or something. Like I don't think he was there.
Who is that? It's like the statues they have downtown of Lincoln, his family, and then random kid they're waving hi to. That
30 feet away, a kid running with his hat like tipped.
Nameless kid gets immortalized. This was great. Like, I mean, I'm just into part 1 on this, the winter one, but this is exactly how you do something like this, where it doesn't feel like, it really does feel like there's that it just kind of continued this whole time, and we happen to be watching what would be like season 14 or something, like,
yeah, like
14, 15.
It doesn't feel like they're picking back up. It just feels like in her head, Amy Sherman Palladino was like sitting there writing out each season each year and then throwing it in the fucking trash can.
Yeah.
And then eventually they're like, oh, we can do it again. And she's like, oh, well, I'm current.
Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like, because it really, doing it like that really sidesteps like the really kind of fakey kind of fan servicey type stuff that you would get in like a several years later continuation. Yeah. Like in this, whenever a familiar character shows up that you've seen before, they just kind of enter in.
Yeah,
like
there's no fanfare or anything.
Yeah.
And or there's no like exposition dump of like backing up who they are. It's like, oh, hey, everybody, it's Kirk. It's like, oh, hi guys. I thought I'd talk to you about this thing. Like, Kirk, what crazy weird side job do you have today?
Yeah.
You've had so many at this point.
Mm-hmm. No, it just picks up he's working his own Uber business and he has a pet pig.
It's like, there's no explanation.
Yeah.
They never talk about it. He's just like, excuse me, picks up his pig, we're leaving. It's like, all right. Mm-hmm. It feels like there was a setup for that maybe last season, but there was no last season, but they just went with it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Like it feels like I mentioned this when it was over with, where I was like, you could completely skip season 7. Like, this whole thing really is kind of like, let's just forget season 7 existed, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Because season 7 is what feels the tone, the writing of season 7, which was done by different people.
It just, yeah, everything felt like everybody was acting just slightly out of character.
Yeah, by far and away. It was even directed differently. It was paced differently. The direction was different. It was off. It felt like somebody was writing. They get rid of Amy Sherman Palladino and they replace it with like fan fiction, and that's what season 7 is. Season 7 is what it feels like when like something happens several years later and it's made by different people and you just kind of got to go along with things. Like, if you wanted to, honestly, what I recommend, seriously, is just, okay, maybe see season 7 out of curiosity if you must, but honestly, you could get to the end of season 6, maybe look at a slight synopsis of season 7.
Yeah, just kind of,
maybe
like, look at, like, the Wikipedia entry for season 7, just read, like, the recap, like, high-level overview. Mm-hmm. You know, like, Rory goes here. Meanwhile, back in Stars Hollow, Lorelai does this. Like, got it.
I loved so much that, like, just people that you know and recognize are just there like it's any other regular episode. Miss Patty's in the background waving hi. Sebastian Bach is back in this. Gil's back.
And, like, yeah, again, like, it's not like...
Yeah,
they didn't, like, go out of their way to, like, do anything with Miss Patty in this.
No!
You know, it's just like, oh, hey, Miss Patty's like, Rory's home! And then, like, that's it. Like,
and Gil is just there because they're over at Lane, so of course they're playing in the band. Yeah,
he shows up, he starts getting his gear ready, and then they do a song. Like, it is nothing different than if he showed up in a random episode that wasn't focused on, like, Lane and everything going on there.
Yeah, exactly.
This is like any other episode where it's just in the background, like, it's like, oh, hey, everybody. And he's like, hey. Like, that's it.
Yeah, and... God, I mean, I can't tell you how much I've missed grumpy-ass Luke Danes. Like, now we're well past, like, he just doesn't like cell phones in there, even though it's still got the same picture on there with the cell phone that he obviously drew 20 years ago.
With his fucking fingerband.
Yeah.
It's a phone. What do you... It's a phone. It looks like a phone. Ah!
Now he gets to fuck with people trying to... log on to Wi-Fi in his diner.
Yeah, I love the fact that he got with the times, probably mostly at, like, the grumblings of Lorelai.
Yeah.
And has Wi-Fi in the diner, but refuses to give people the right password to log in.
That's the compromise.
He just keeps giving out fake, legitimate sounding password.
Yeah, like,
it's like, oh, what's the Wi-Fi password?
Dane's Diner 85 or
it's like, oh, thanks, man. The guy just sitting there for 20 minutes in the background, like, throwing hands, like, I don't get it.
And then he and Taylor bond because Taylor
Loses his fucking shit.
Loses his shit on the customers at Luke's Diner, and that makes them bond. That makes total sense. They're now one and the same.
It's like, I wasn't going to sign that thing you're signing around, this petition, but god damn, the way you just screamed at someone to go home. You got me, buddy.
Fine. I said it as soon as Luke showed up. I say to Laura, I'm like, that right there's my favorite character. She looks at me like, really? Like I couldn't tell by how you're dressed. I'm like, what? No, I dress like this in high school too. We just happen to be spirit animals. And then I said to you at one point, I was, Stars Hollow looks like Stars Hollow in this. Like it doesn't, again, like it just feels like we're back some years later with the same people, the same characters, and here they are in this current day and age. And I look at you and I go like, I'm always like, man, I wish I could live somewhere like Stars Hollow, but then I remember that places like that don't exist. Yeah. Or if they do,
they're terrible people because of it.
Yeah, it's the Stepford Wives, or it's some like 70s horror movie where they're Satanists, or I don't know. There'd be something weird.
Literally the movie Deadly Friend, because it's filmed on the same set.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you don't want to live in the actual town from Northern Exposure, because if you go there, it's gonna be more like Twin Peaks.
Yeah, they're gonna be crazy, yeah. But not the fun kind.
Yeah, but the seasons will be absolutely lovely.
Oh,
there'll be a fantastic diner, a nice candy shop next door.
It's like. Like in Northern Exposure, like, yeah, there'll be a moose in the middle of town, but everyone will look at you like an asshole for thinking that's weird.
It's gonna be like, it's gonna be less Northern Exposure and more Wayward Pines, and that's science fiction.
But no, but I think the fact that Stars Hollow still looks like Stars Hollow really helped with this too, because I mean the town is as much of a character in the show.
Absolutely.
And just the fact that, like, yeah, I know with like some shows like this where they do like a, you know, like a revival series, or they'll do like a you know, TV movie like years down the line, like, or even like an actual movie down the line.
Yeah.
Everything always looks way different.
Because usually it's from different. I mean, not always, but
I mean, yeah,
a lot of times it's from different. It's from different people. Like,
yeah.
And it's made just because this is clearly to give this an actual proper conclusion.
Yeah, but like if it was done by different people and they're just like, if it was just like a shameless like oh yeah, we're just doing this,
yeah,
like not for the fans but for money, like
Mary and Rhoda.
Yeah. Like, it'd be the sort of thing, like, it would come back, but, like, Luke's Diner is now, like, an actual diner or something. Like, it's like, oh, yeah, I decided, like, why fight it all these years? And, like, I built, like, a huge new restaurant, and it's, like, an actual restaurant, and, like, all fancy and chrome and everything inside. It's like, no, that wouldn't feel right.
For some reason, Sookie St. James would be a movie star.
Yeah, it's like, like they treat her exactly the same, but now it's just some, like, completely random thing.
Yeah, it's like because Melissa McCarthy's famous now. Honestly, the biggest laughs that I got out of it was Kirk. Was Sean got I was in tears most of his shtick in the episode. There's a scene that ends with him like just chasing after his pig that just runs in the background, and he was killing me, and he's always been one of my favorite characters on the show, but God, he was killing me in this. But
no, I like that because a lot of the standard episodes of the show, like yeah, they're always about, you know, Lorelai and Rory,
yeah,
but usually, like, about every episode has, like, some other townsperson that's the focus. Whether it's a lot of, like, the episode is heavy on following Rory, so maybe it focuses on Dean a lot, or Jess. Or it's an episode, you know, about, like, the town's trying to do something, so it's very heavy on, like, Taylor doing something.
Taylor, like, a town hall meeting, or like a competitive episode, like the dance off episode, which has heavy Kirk moments in it.
Yeah, so each one has like kind of a focus. So I like that that's still the feel that this had, and it just so happened that for this like first one, which is feature length, it just so happens that it was also a Kirk episode.
Yeah. Feature length, which goes by fast. And by the way, Kirk has aged remarkably, by the way. Like, he is pulling off that 5 o'clock shadow he's got going on here.
He's finally starting to look like he might be an adult.
Yeah. Really, they all look great. Like, when Emily Gilmore popped up, I looked at you and went, she looks the same.
There are a few people who have aged well as this goes on. There's one person that'll come up later on, has not aged at all.
Yeah,
like even more so than like how Emily looks. Like
okay.
I won't throw anything out just yet. But yeah, there's one of the characters. It's like either. You have to assume that either this person is a fucking vampire in real life somehow, or it's like, I don't know, like they just composited together old footage from like season 1 because not a day has passed.
Oh man, like I mean, Lauren Graham will always look great, and she's fantastic. But within the first like minute of this, like you get right away like this is okay. Like they've picked a tone, and it's the tone that they had for the first 6 seasons. So we're back to that, and this is easily going to be really, really damn good. Like it really starts off with a bang in terms of its dialogue.
But yeah, it's the same punchy dialogue that you would expect, and it doesn't feel like they're phoning it in or like they're struggling to like keep the same pace that they always had.
No, it feels like they haven't missed a beat at all. It feels like we've been saying, like there has been just missing seasons in between season 7 and this.
And yeah, because like the way I explained it to you guys and to Letty was basically like I know that the show Bones is still on TV. Yeah. And I know that I stopped watching it probably like season 3, like halfway through season 4. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it would be no different, like jumping back into this than if I just like started like, you know what? Fuck it. It's Thursday. It's on Fox. Boop, Bones. And just started, I don't know when it's on, but like just threw it on the TV and just jumped back in on an episode. Like that's what this feels like. It was like you went to the video store like, fuck, they don't have like the last 9 seasons of this show. I'll just get the new one. Like I was gonna go back through and catch up, but like it's like, oh shit, they only have like the first 4 seasons on Hulu, so I'll just whatever.
I guess I'll just pick this up later. I'll just read the Wikipedia synopsis.
Just fill in the gaps there for the stuff that's not streaming.
Yeah, so I read the Wikipedia synopsis of I don't watch Bones, but I'm picturing myself like reading the Wait, why am I reading a Wikipedia? It's a procedural. How all do I need to know?
But I mean, just as far as like no, character growth, development, like clearly things have changed, but not once do they stop and like have to like feel the need to catch you up, and I really respect that. Like it, I mean, I will admit, probably from an outsider's perspective, it probably is potentially hard to follow some of the through lines, but
I like that about this because
it's not discounting the people that they know absolutely want to watch it. Yeah, and it for me, it's the sort of thing where like if you're gonna watch this, you've probably seen the older ones, or you're definitely gonna want to go back and watch it. Like if I just jumped into like the 5th movie in a series, like if I'll start with, you know, fucking Goblet of Fire for Harry Potter. Like, what the fuck is happening with all these kids? I should go back.
In reverse. You watch the 3rd one after that. And
it's like, this is making less sense now.
I like that about this because it really respects its audience and its fans because of that. When they mention Suki St. James in this, they talk about her name. They don't drop in an exposition dump of like my best friend Suki St. James, who is the chef at this inn. Like, I mean, like, yeah, it's like, they just like the character's completely unseen, and they just mention her. Like, it's like, oh man, I miss having Suki here. It's like, yeah, but she fucking left us here. Like, well, And when they drop Lane's name, Logan's, a couple of others as well. Like, yeah, they reference just their names in passing because it realizes that we know who these people are.
Yeah.
And I thought they handled the Edward Herman stuff really fucking well in this.
It was done incredibly, incredibly classy, incredibly good taste, and it's insane that for a man who wasn't around to make it to this being done, he is still very much a presence in the entire episode.
Quite literally, he's got a giant wall-sized portrait hanging on the wall.
I mean, yeah, there's a painting in this about the same size as if it was a mural to Tupac Shakur on the side of a building.
It's as big as the Jesus is Lord sign on the side of the building right there.
But yeah, it's fucking sizable.
Yeah.
But
who gets to keep that prop?
Right? Surely to God, like because the whole first section is like dedicated to his memory. Like I should really hope that like when they were done with that, they like got in touch with his family and said like we have this amazing thing.
Fuck yeah.
Fucking thousands of dollars worth of work on this. You guys want it?
Yeah, and it was how they handle it, because it does flash back 4 months prior, and it does show the funeral. It shows the aftermath of that. There are some genuinely heartbreaking moments in this, but it's still funny. It's realistically funny. Realistic in the way that you would joke in a situation like that.
But yeah, it's definitely not like quipping and jokes at a funeral. But
it's not a sitcom.
But it finds its moments. Like even after like that really heavy way that like the flashback ends.
Fuck.
And then immediately cuts to Rory sitting there and just quick joke.
That was what was
not a heavy hitter, not a fucking belly laugh, but just quick joke, got it in there.
Yeah. Just
enough to like break that mood from just completely bringing the whole thing to a screeching halt at the halfway point.
That was perfect. That was fantastic writing for a couple reasons. One, what you just said, and two, they put Rory in there to kind of say what a lot of the audience is probably thinking.
Yeah.
Which is like, you couldn't think of anything to say in that.
Like you could just say like, he's well read. Like,
yeah, he's well read. He's got books.
Boy, he loves books.
There was the time when he set Rory up for the interview at Yale, but she wasn't prepared yet and got mad at him. There was the part where he got mad at Dean for building the car for Rory.
The thing's a death trap. Doesn't even have seatbelts.
The auto mechanic's in it too. I was glad they brought her back.
I love Gypsy.
Yeah.
Your car, it's a piece of crap.
Again, also looks like she hasn't aged a day. No, honestly, if you're a fan of the series, you've probably seen it already. I know it's been out for a few days now or something like that.
It's been out for like a day. It came out yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. Okay. And I was waiting so he and I could watch it together, and we were
I jumped the gun since I was homesick.
I understand. I'm not mad at you.
That, and I knew that there was no way that Letty was going to not watch it.
Yeah. And I was like, the fact that you... Right, yeah. And the fact that you were all right with watching it again made me think like, okay, well, it's better than season 7.
It's like, yeah, I'll sit through this again.
Like we were over at we're the Gilmore Girls fans on this site. Actually, Irving is too. And Ryan watched it as well. Rob Walker just got into it, and begrudgingly so, and he's mad at himself for the fact that he wants to keep watching it. Like, yeah, I told you I'd get you into it, this motherfucker.
Like one of those things like, this show's dumb. I don't get why everybody's like, fine, I'll watch.
Fine, I'll watch. I was hooked on this show the first time I saw it.
The first time I saw it, I was... I had just moved to Mattoon. Like, I was working at a McDonald's. And I was, like working the evening shift. So I'm, like, went on my lunch break, went and sat in the break room, and for whatever reason, the TV in the break room was always set to the WB.
Yeah.
And so, like I'd go on, like, my break one day, and it's like, oh, it's watching, like, season 3 of Angel. So I'm like, I don't know what the hell's going on here.
Yeah.
And then, like, one day I went in, and it was like, all these, like, fucking, like, prep school kids. Like, I don't know what I'm watching here. I'm like, it's like, this is fucking funny, though. It's like, oh, okay. I didn't realize at the time, like, oh, it's Rory, and she's at Chilton.
Yeah, you saw it before me, because I watched it on your recommendation, because it was, when the show was first on and it was advertised, it looked like, it didn't look like something I would have disliked. It just looked like not the kind of show I usually watch, so I...
Yeah, same here. Like,
right, yeah.
Like, it was just kind of like being there at work, kind of being a captive audience for it. I'm like, well, it's already going to be on. And I was watching, I'm like, this is actually, like, legitimately a good show. Like, the writing is punchy. Like, it's humorous and it keeps going, but it
drops a moment. I mean, not this, but like somewhere in the first season, somewhere in the other seasons, it drops a moment by moment reference. Like, sold. I'm one of 50 people to get that reference. Yeah, like, and everyone's always surprised when I say that I watch it, because I don't watch The Walking Dead, I don't watch Game of Thrones, but I watch the fuck out of this. I do. It's great. And, like, we were over at Sarah and Dave's, and they don't watch it.
which is weird, because, like, the way that Sarah acts half the time, like, especially, like, the dynamic between her and her mom, I'm like, really? You don't understand this show. You don't get into it.
Nope.
It's like, I guess maybe it's just too close to home.
Could be.
It's like, I don't see what's funny about this.
Could be. Like, you mentioned something about, like, well, because we were having some dinner over there before we watched it, you mentioned something like, oh, we could put it on over here, and Sarah was like, yeah, I guess. And I said something like, well, I do kind of want to sit there and enjoy this without grumpy Dave sitting next to me, like, ah!
Like, it's fine.
Why does snow move like that? Because it's a show.
It moves like that because this is filmed in fucking Southern California. The snow's as real as the houses in the background.
You go a couple of blocks over, you might see the well from Friends. Which lot is this on? Warner or Universal?
It's on the Warner back
Warner,
lot.
okay. The Friends well is... Is that Universal or Warner? Fuck, I think it's Warner. I think that one might... Because that same well was in that Wonder Woman pilot from the early 70s. I recognize that well. Or fountain. Sorry, fountain.
Now destroy him in the comments.
I can talk Friends for fucking hours. Trust me, I do it on Tumblr all the time. I can talk Friends for hours. I can talk Gilmore Girls for hours. I can talk Game of Thrones for like 2 minutes. This is the extent of my knowledge.
I got through season 1, and it's not for lack of interest. I just keep never getting around to it. What was the last season? 7?
I don't know, honestly.
Like, somehow, like, in the past 5 years, I have not found a single minute to watch more of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the first few seasons of it, and honestly, I thought it was totally fine. Like, but it was never really me necessarily that was just sitting there watching it on my own. It was like me, Jillian, and Sarah. And then when getting together and watching that kind of fell by the wayside, I just didn't really pick it up again on my own, you know? It's one of those shows, honestly, like The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, where if you're on Twitter, you kind of watch it.
Yeah.
Like, because I kind of know, especially Game of Thrones, or not Game of Thrones, especially Walking Dead with how that opened in the season. Yeah, I kind of feel like I've seen it because I'm on Twitter.
The past couple seasons of Walking Dead, like, I've just kind of waited for it to all play out, and then, like, eventually it's like, it's on Netflix. I'll catch up one of these Sundays, like, if I'm fucking laid up sick or just not doing anything. But, yeah, with that new season when the first episode was coming out, I'm like I might as well go ahead and fucking watch it, because I know as soon as I go online, if I want to keep any air of mystery about it, that's not gonna happen. I might as well just go ahead and fucking watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's gonna be no avoiding it. Like, I know, like, the next, like, 3 days on Twitter are just gonna be posts about what happened, or, like, little animated GIFs, or screenshots, or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wasn't wrong.
Is that an eyeball hanging out of his saga? Man, it is. But again, I can talk this shit for hours. And friends. Me and Sarah have to talk Friends, though. You don't watch Friends. Oh wait, you've seen a bunch of Friends, haven't you? Just because of Sarah?
Yeah, I think I've seen, like, I think I've honestly seen, like, the first, like, 5 seasons straight through.
I'll get you caught up on the second half. I've got them all.
But yeah, that was just during a time where, like, she went on a kick and she's like, I'm just gonna start watching all of Friends. I'm like, okay.
I watched all of Friends. It was between 94 and 2004. I watched it all first run. And I've gone back a few times.
It's one of those shows, like, I would flip through the channels and come across. It's like, I guess that's kind of funny. Nah, you lost me.
You sure you weren't accidentally watching Joey instead? Why is the guy from Road Trip in this?
No, it was always one of those, like, it didn't hold me. Like, you know, I'd watch a little bit, and yeah, it'd be funny for a minute, but, like, it was one of those shows where, like, I would watch it until you hit a commercial break, and then you just start flipping through the channels, and you just never go back.
Well, we have two things, though. We have our love for Gilmore Girls and our hatred of the Big Bang Theory.
I will always have that.
Yes, we always have that. At same time next week for part 2.
Absolutely.
Fuck yeah. All right. See you guys.